My Love of Radio, Part 1 by Gregory Brandt. Recently I mentioned that I listened to the college radio station from the University of Texas here in Hawaii. I wanted to clarify so none of you think I'm trying to quote-unquote relive my good old college days, because this couldn't be further from the truth, and my quote-unquote college days were anything but good. The college radio station at the University of Texas, Austin, KVRX, is a good station, but I also listen to the station at the University of Washington, KEXP. The University of Texas is actually playing the University of Washington this college football season in about a week and a half. I guess it's the battle of the public Ivy League schools. I also listen to a classical musical station, KMFA, when I'm doing my writing. I actually had a job interview at that station once for an on-air talent position. With a smart speaker and Wi-Fi connection, I have access to every radio station in the world. I just need to know the call letters. Radio has always been a big part of my life ever since I was a kid, and my brother and I would listen to the top 40 station in San Antonio, Texas, 102.7. One reason for this is because we did not have toys. Radio was always free, just like the newspaper. When I got older, me and my friends would listen to the local rock station in San Antonio, 99.5 KISS. I actually knew somebody who worked at the station. His name was Josh, and he put me on the air almost every night during the all request hour. I would usually tell a quirky story or a joke, and I managed to fill up an entire audio cassette of just me talking on the local radio station. When I moved to Austin a couple years later, I would listen to 101.5X. It was similar to 99.5 KISS, but where San Antonio rock station would play bands like AC/DC, Metallica, Queensryche, Scorpions. 101.5 would never play those artists, but instead would play people like Beck, 311, and Weezer, artists 99.5 KISS wouldn't ever play. As I got older and my music taste became more refined, I started listening more to college radio stations like the one from UT Austin, KVRX. But even when I was a student at UT, KVRX was a little too alternative for me. It was a little too avant-garde. It was kind of weird, and even though I wanted to get involved with the station back then, it was all who you know, and there was very few DJ spots available. Now I've noticed they're much more inclusive, and they give everyone an opportunity. If you're interested, you can try it out. And there are hundreds more DJs as well, except now they just have very short time slots. KVRX is still a college radio station, but their music selection is less rare and less eclectic than it was 10, 15 years ago when I was a student there. The University of Texas in Austin actually has two radio stations, KVRX, which is your typical college radio station, but then they also have an NPR affiliate, KUT. Most universities' college radio station acts as the NPR affiliate, but the University of Texas is different, where it has two stations. Now, I didn't work for KVRX or volunteer for them, but after I graduated, I opened up a storytelling showcase program on KUT. The reason I got that gig is because after I graduated, I sent them a couple of my own original YouTube stories, like Bad Mescaline and my 4 months in jail. Both are still available on YouTube if you're curious and you want to hear my stories from 10, 15 years ago. But the radio station, the NPR affiliate, was so impressed that they let me open the show every week with the top story. I told stories for this radio program for the last few months I lived in Austin. It was a great opportunity. I actually studied radio while I was a student at UT. I took a course called The History of Radio, and I took a few other radio, television, film courses. I learned a lot about Marconi, Tesla, and how CBS, NBC, and AT&T got started. They say radio is a dying medium, but I gotta disagree, because if we get thrown back into some dark age and a solar flare knocks out modern technology, I got a feeling that radio will still exist. When I was traveling across the country some years ago, there was a time where I didn't have a cell phone. My only source of entertainment, news, and sanity was a small portable Sony AM/FM radio. It was my most prized possession. And whatever community I ventured into, I could find out everything I needed to know just by listening to the radio. I could see how many college radio stations they had. I could see if they had a classical musical station. I could see how many country music stations they have. It's usually the less country stations, the better. I could see if they had an NPR affiliate. I could see what their commercials sound like. With this little radio, I could track the weather. I could listen to sporting events. And sometimes, after camping in the wilderness, not speaking to anyone for a while, except maybe a few cats, I would call up an AM radio talk show or conspiracy program and tell them I was living in the woods, or just have a brief conversation with the DJ. Sometimes it was the only human interaction I had in weeks. I'm a very objective and analytical person, and radio forces you to be part of a community whether you like it or not. Your community extends to how far the signal on your radio picks up from wherever you may be standing. My name is Gregory Brandt, aka Mr.G. Thanks for listening. Check out my book, Gonzo Education, and turn on your radio. Listen up.